Welcome to Community Work, where we do the work. I'm your host, Mona Lisa Weber. Thank you so much for sharing space with us and being here as part of the conversation. I really appreciate it. Definitely want to acknowledge and give a shout out to Broward County and Miami-Dade County, the 954 and the 305, baby. We got to do that. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you comment. You feel me? Make sure you share. Right? This is an educational program. We really want to teach people what's going on locally and on a statewide level. So truly appreciate like, share, comment, subscribe. You feel me? I want to just, speak a little bit on this journey of community work that has revealed so many issues within, the systems that we operate under. And it's going to take the community to get involved for us to show up so we can flip some shit. Like, we really have to show up in numbers. We're not taught the political process for many reasons, but that's a whole nother show. But what we are fighting for is resources, right? This is a fight for resources, and this is a fight for our value. And the reality is that there is enough for everyone, right? The universe provides in abundance. And when it bears fruit, like, it bears so much fruit that you can actually give it away. So it's time for us to really think about what we're doing, think about how we want to get involved, because the human species is destroying themselves and the next generations, right? Because it's just a lot going on. We are distracted and we have things that we need to prioritize. I am totally dedicated to educate the youth and also the adults who have, an open mind and wanting to learn about what is going on. We do have the power, right, to change things in a collective, right? Change things collectively in our local communities. We have to start locally. We must start at our front door, right? Our block and our neighborhoods. And through this journey, and I'm going to be very transparent, like, I don't really know anything about politics. So a couple years back, when I was helping one of my homegirls who was running for office, I became like, I was so shocked at the fact that some of these local races, like, you can win with under like 3,000 votes, right? Like, such small numbers. So every race is different. So make sure that you check out your cities, right? Do some research, organize people, and really think about how you want to make change and be really strategic about it. Again, every race is different, but when you're dealing with small cities, you're dealing with smaller numbers. Some of us know, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people locally. So that's just something to think about. Before we start, I also want to share some information on the state of Florida. On November 6th of 2018, Florida Amendment 4 passed with 64% of the voters in favor. This was also known as the Voting Rights Restoration for Felons Initiative, right? So on January 8, 2019, there was an estimated 1.4 million ex-felons became eligible to vote, right? I was one of the ones at the forefront of Amendment 4. I was honored to be at the forefront, along with one of my good friends. I want to give a shout out to him, Aaron Hollis, right? We gathered and went to Tallahassee. But most importantly, I just want to take one moment to honor Dexter Gunn, who was the one, Amendment 4 was his thing, and he was the one who organized all of us to go to Tallahassee. So I just want to take one moment to honor him because he was a soldier in the fight. He passed away in 2019. Brother, we miss you, and we still out here fighting. You feel me? Amendment 4 all the way. Yeah, that was really a shocker to us, right? because we was all up in it together. I even made an amendment for dress, right, to bring awareness to the campaign. And I was kind of like dropping it like it's hot, you feel me, just to get people aware about what was going on. So at some point I'll drop the picture of the amendment for dress. So today we will be interviewing Rod Valdez, a resident of school board in Broward County District 1. Okay. And he so happens to have a felony conviction and he's running for office. So we're definitely going to have a conversation with him today about how that even happened. Like, really, someone with a felony conviction can run for office? Yes, they can, if they, qualify and do the I guess the proper paperwork. But we'll definitely ask him how that was done. District 1 in Broward County includes Dania, also known as Daney for many of us, Hollywood, Hollandale, West Park, Miramar, and the town of Pembroke Park. So I just want to give a shout out to all those cities, and they're also known as South Broward. So with that being said, I appreciate all of you, and let's go ahead and welcome Rod Valdez. What up? What up? What up? How you doing?
What's up, Mona? How you doing?
How's it going?
Good. Doing great.
Okay, it's great to see you. It's great to see you.
Am I the first interview, or?
Well, so you're the first live interview in like years. So I'll give you that. Okay. You just needed to know that, right?
I want to know when you're a millionaire in a few years that I was the first recent live.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because the whole thing is, I advocate for the youth very, very, very heavily. And then, I also educate on the school to prison pipeline. So it's just, the journey has led me to meet people like yourselves that are actually like running for school board. And when you're dealing with school, you're dealing with the school, and then you're dealing with the youth. So I think it was just appropriate for you to be, my first live interview after, coming back after so many years, because it just kind of like falls on what I do. So, and then it gives us an opportunity to educate the people on this process, right? So, Rod, how are you doing? How you doing?
Doing good, doing well. Just a little eager. I want to get this race going, and I want to win it in August.
Awesome.
That's my goal.
3rd, 2022 is the primary, so everybody has to go out and cast your votes. So I remember when we met, and you saw me on a panel, and then I don't know, months later I saw you on the ground, right, in Hollywood, in the Liberia area, doing groundwork, doing community work. And we ended up having a conversation for like 3 hours, right? And it had we weren't even talking about running for office. It was just
along with A1 as well. It was A1 as well.
A1 as well. It was just the three of us having deep conversations on community solutions. So Rod, tell us like a little bit about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, let the people know who you is. Like, who is Rod Valdez?
So I'm gonna go kind of back to when I was a little one. So my parents separated around when I was 6 years old. So I grew up with government assistance, lived in low income housing. My mother raised my sister and myself, the hard way by herself. So I had that growing up, so I lived in the projects. I was able to have that experience in life that brings me to where I'm at today. And it makes me, I feel humbled, yet appreciative. It was a struggle along the way, but it made me the man who I am today. I do Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts with my kids. I also, as I'm running, I started to run because of the issues, that we have in the county during COVID. I just noticed that there was a lack of just teaching, learning. And then I started looking into a lot of the other aspects of what was going on in the county. And my background, is construction mainly. So the past 20 years, I've been dealing with construction. I have my own business doing house renovations. And then I did, for the past 13 years, I've been working for a company that does property management. So I oversee, over 100 properties, that my company owns. So, that being said, I just, felt compelled to get involved. I've always, for as long as I can remember, I've been helping, giving back to the community and just trying to be a good human being, and just doing my part, to do the right thing. So I decided, that I didn't like the way that the school system was going. So I decided I was going to throw my name in the hat, and then just run. This year there's a vacant seat that's coming up, and I just figured I can be that person that can fight for all of our kids, regardless of gender, race, anything. Just, I have a kids first agenda. It's not a political game. I'm not a politician, nor do I care to run for anything down the road. It's just, to help get this thing back on track. I just want to do my part, as a citizen, as a good human being. I just want to get back. So there's a lot more we can talk about, and I'm sure we'll have those conversations during this conversation. But just let me know if there's anything else you want to know, and we can.
Well, you do have children in the school system, right?
Yeah, I'm the only person in District 1 race that for the next 7 years, okay, I'll have my 2 kids in the Broward County Public School System. So my 2 opponents do not have that. So that just, for me, that ensures that I will be more determined and make sure that I will be the best school board candidate and person running for this district. I have skin in the game, unlike my opponents. If I fail my kids. We love our kids. We'll do anything for our children. So this is why I jumped into this race. I want to do this for my kids.
Yeah, I remember you talking to me about it, and I just want to say, I have to give you your flowers, and for having the courage to run in a political space. So recently, right? So you said all this good stuff about about who you are, how you were raised, just being a father, a family man, right? Because the community, some people in the community know you. So I happen to be one of them. So you're a family man, you have children, they're in the school system, and you've pretty much been doing your thing for many years. And recently, the Sun Sentinel had released an article about you. And it was like this, I don't know how big it was, right? But it was just like, oh my God, he has a felony conviction, right? So it wasn't a surprise to me because we had spoke about it. Not necessarily the details, but more about I'm like, damn, you have a felony conviction and you can run for office. So can you talk to us a little bit about the process that you had to take to qualify to run for office? Was it a long process? Because, this live, I also want to encourage those, that just because you have a felony conviction, and I'm not sure how other states run or counties or anything of that nature, but I mean, try it, take a step to, run for office. So can you tell us a little bit about the process of what you had?
Let me tell you my story a little bit. I'll make it quick. What happened with me, for me to get the charge that I got. It was 27 years ago. The 24-year-old version of myself, not as handsome as I am, but he was a younger version of me. it was back in the day, and you know, I was at my girlfriend's house, and at that time she was renting on, you know, a room to someone she knew from work. And you know, the guy and a few of his buddies were drinking and playing music, and you know, I was staying over that night, and I had to work the next day, and so did my girlfriend. So you know, it's her house, so she went and told him a few times, you know, to turn the music down, and you know, to keep it down, and they just didn't listen. So after probably the third time, you know, I went out there and I asked them, and at that point, you know, I don't remember what time it was, but it was late, and the guy got in my face, and you know, he pushed me, and that was all I needed, you know, and I was just, we got into a fight. I got him away, he was on the ground, and then the other two guys came at me. You know, they had you know, some weapons in their hands, some poles from a like from a club back in the day to lock your steering wheel. They each had a piece. So you know, I was just concerned. I can handle myself, but when it's 3 against 1, you know, I don't like the odds. Doesn't matter who you are. So, you know, I told my girlfriend to get my gun from the bedroom. It was a little 25 caliber. She went and got it. So when she got the gun and gave it to me, the guys, you know, I pointed at them and they stayed away. You know, they backed up. So, you know, I was getting ready to go outside the house, and I told my girlfriend to call the police. You know, and as soon as, you know, they got there, you know, just to avoid any confrontation, any more problems, you know, I was just getting ready to take off. So as I was taking off, I put the gun under my seat, and I was getting ready to take off, and the guy hit my car with something. And I just got, you know, a 1990 Nissan Maxima. And for me, that was like the newest car that I ever had. So I got out, and I was like, you know, what's up? Like, and then we just started fighting. So, you know, I hit the guy, he went down, his head hit the concrete. You know, long story short is the guy was knocked out cold. Cops got there, and, you know, the other two guys lied and said that because he was bleeding from his head, and, you know, they said I hit him with a gun. But
right, because that's what the newspaper says, that you pistol whipped the guy.
Pistol whip, right?
Yeah,
which is
that's the word they use, pistol whip.
Yeah, that's not the case at all. I didn't have to pistol whip the guy. I just, you know, anyway, he was knocked out, and the gun was under the seat, and the guys just lied because they were drunk, and they're the ones that started the whole mess.
Right.
You know, I mean, look, that situation for me, it could have went really wrong. I could have pulled the trigger 3 times.
Right, and I have to commend you for that, because you have
3 people less in this world. But I was able to, in that time at 24 years old, with the amount of energy and vigor that I had at that time in my life, you know, I was able to still control myself, you know, and not once did I use the gun. So, you know, I just used it. I was in fear for my life, and I didn't know what was going to happen with my girlfriend either, because we were both there. So I just, you know, I defended myself. And then basically, at that age, and just not having the education, you know, in law, I just didn't understand. And I didn't have a father around or family members around to say, hey, you got to fight this, or these are your rights, and you can do this and do that. And, you know, they were holding the whole 10-year, you know, charge on me with the gun.
Right.
And for me at 24, I was scared, you know, like I'd never been in trouble before. So for me, you know, I was terrified. And, you know, my attorney at the time, that the one that I could afford, it wasn't a public defender, but he was a little one notch above a public defender. And he just basically told me, hey, you know, take the deal. They offered to drop the gun charge, which it wouldn't have held up anyway, knowing now what I know. But, and then, you know, he just said, you'll get off with a couple years probation. You know, so with that being said, I was like, wow, I just want this to be over with. Of course, because they scare the hell out of you. You know, when you're young, you know, you're thinking 10 years, Christ. I mean, I'm going to be 34 years old when I get out of jail. I'm like, you know, hell, that's, you know, to me, I was shitting my pants. So, you know, at that point, I took the deal, you know, and then ever since that moment, you know, it's changed my life, you know.
So when you say you took the deal, you took the probation, you passed it, you paid all your monies, no violations, you did what you had to do, you paid your debt to society, correct?
Correct.
And never got in trouble again?
Never again. And then people like yourself, fortunately, And again, I never really followed. I'm not a politician. I never really cared for politics because it's an ugly game. It's just ugly, what politicians do to each other. So I kind of try to stay away from that. So with people like you that fought for Amendment 4, I had my voting rights taken away. I hadn't voted since up until that 24 years old. I can't remember the last president I voted for. And then when that amendment came through, after DeSantis signed it, I had my rights. I applied. Like you said, I didn't have any fees or any monies that were owed. It qualified. To have my voting rights restored. And then that's exactly what I did. I have people saying, "Oh, you haven't voted, since whatever," and well, I couldn't vote. I had that felony charge. And it's just something that was unfortunate. But
see, but when you say this is what I'm trying to get with the mindset of people, like, or maybe it's my lack, like, what does not voting have to do with wanting the best and fighting for children? I don't understand. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
for me, no, it doesn't have anything. For me, it didn't have anything because at that time I didn't care to run for anything. So, I knew, the laws enough to know that I couldn't run for hold any office because of the charge. But, look, because of my upbringing and because I grew up with federal and government assistance and, grew up, around people of color. And, I was one of those minorities, and I was passed over a lot because of the color of my skin and, just by being poor. I didn't use that and say, oh, well, I can't, it changed my pattern in life and the roads that I took. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, I always said when I became successful in life, I always wanted to give back to my community if I could, financially and personally, and just, giving myself in any kind of way, so, I got married. I've been married to my wife for over, 21 years. We have a great relationship. My two kids.
Shout out to the wifey. Shout out to the wifey.
Yeah, you got to. She puts up with a lot with me, and you got to give her those props. So it's so I started getting involved with my kids, and getting involved and had them in Cub Scouts, and I became a leader in Cub Scouts. And at first I didn't want to because, when I saw that application, I saw about criminal background and checks and all that. And I was like, oh Christ, I can't, so it's just something that always, was a hinder in my life. And it just, it was a dark cloud over. And, and if I didn't apply at that time, my kids wouldn't have been able to do Cub Scouts because it was a new pack. They didn't have any leaders. And, I just said, you know what, I'll try it. So I talked to the guy and I said, look, this is what's going on. I have this charge, and they were like, well, do you have anything? Is it anything to do with kids? Are you, a child molester? Have you done anything inappropriate or any of those things? And, no, the answer is no. So they didn't really care, about that particular charge because it was so long ago. So they approved.
So there are second chances.
Right. No, there are. And I'm grateful for that because I gave every excuse in the book as to why I couldn't do it. And in my heart, I was saying, yeah, I want to do it. But, mentally, I was embarrassed. It's not something you want to talk about. And, it's not something that I'm hiding. It's just something that it's embarrassing. It's a situation that happened. So anyway, I got involved with my kids in Cub Scouts, and that kind of started everything. I never spoke in public or any of those things. So those are some of the things that we teach the kids, so I became the leader for my oldest son. And then after a couple years, we went over to the Boy Scout side because you age out, you just go over to the older boys. And then I got sucked into being a leader, with the Boy Scouts. There was turnover and they needed a scoutmaster. So, I stepped up and I took that role, and I just felt that was my calling. It was my time now to get back to my community, to my kids. And that's kind of, what started everything. That day that you and I met, it was a community cleanup, I think Linda Anderson put it together, or somebody put it together in the area. And one of my Boy Scouts, I put that out on the chat, and one of my Boy Scouts parents accidentally dropped him off over there. And the mother calls me and is like, oh, I got my son over here, nobody's here. And I'm like, well, I put it out there, but nobody responded. So I went over there, because of that. And then the rest is history. I met you and A1, and I had my little son AJ with me because we just finished the Chris Hickson run on the beach that day. And, we took pictures and did all this stuff. And I actually have that in my flyer, I think, the pictures. And then, we hit it off. And then I talked to A1 about his charge. And, I don't think at that time I was going to run for anything.
Right.
I might have been talking about it.
There was never conversations about running for office or anything. It was just three individuals doing work together.
I didn't even know if I could, to be honest with you, at that point. Still, I had my voting rights restored. We had the conversations, and that was the extent of it.
So the actual process of applying to be on the ballot, how was that? Was it challenging? Yeah, talk to us a little bit about that.
So once I had my rights restored, I was able to vote. I got my voting card, and it told me where my precinct was, and and all that. And I was excited because it's something that I can be a part of the process. And for me, I'm a person that always tries to come to the table with an idea or a solution. I'm not one to come to you and say, oh, I just don't like this, and then walk away. I'll say, I don't like this, and what about we try this? What about we do that? How about we come up with this idea or solution? That's just who I am by nature, So, with my voting rights restored, and I started looking into it, and, I was jokingly saying, oh, I'm going to, run for Ann Murray's seat because she hasn't been doing anything in our district, especially for COVID.
Say that again. You gotta get rid of her.
Ann Murray hasn't done anything for the past 12 years. She's been silent. I know you have some stories to talk about with her, but no. So I just felt it was time. Our schools are falling apart. Our kids' education is, it's being neglected. There's no information given out there to the parents or the community. There's so many things. So that's what prompted me to run,
See, but the whole thing is this too, because it's a lot of it is like the hypocrisy for me, and I'll say these, and my opinions are my opinions. They're no reflection on you, but like the Broward County school system got such level of violence in it. You feel me? And I'm one that when I advocate for relatability. Like children want to be able to relate to people, right? So when you said like, that the charge that you had was embarrassing, okay, that's, I understand that's how you feel, but I see it differently. I see it that, people who have charges are now able to be more relatable to the youth that are coming up in today's society, right? Because a lot of youth are getting in trouble, getting into fights. I mean, a lot of students could barely study because there's just so much distractions and violence and fighting in the schools. I mean, recently something came out in the news where a young lady in Hollandale was beat down. Like, so I'm just tired of the sugarcoating or the hiding of what's really going on. And for people to come to, to say to you or anybody who has charges, and I'm not defending everybody with a felony charge, right? I'm just saying like a fight is a fight. Students are fighting on a regular
individual. It's got to be an individual basis,
right? You know what I mean? Like it has to be on an individual basis. But a lot of we're at the times where our youth are different. They want to be relatable. They want to be able to say, oh, okay, you understand what I went through. You get it. Oh, you went to jail. Damn. Okay. How did you make it, Rod? What way did you go, Rod? What way did you go? So and so. Because if you don't have any relatability with the youth of today, it is very challenging to get their attention. So I just wanted to say that because, I advocate for men and for people with felony convictions because shit. That was 25+ years ago,
27,
right?
yeah.
Years ago. Like, but then we want to talk about being progressive and the future, but it's like people hold things like forever. Like, that's a whole child, 27 years. That's a whole adult. You know what I mean? So I just needed to say that, just to clear the air, because I'm just not on that goody two shoe with the suits and all that stuff with clean histories, because a lot of times, sometimes they're like one of the biggest criminals, but they sugarcoat it behind the doors. You know what I'm saying? It's just, anyway, it's just a lot. And just because you went through a situation and it was made public doesn't make you any less of a person. You've been contributing to your community, you know, leadership. So, like, I mean, I can speak for a few in South Broward, believe that that's qualifications to run for a school board position. I'm just saying. And then with the skills and the hands-on, our children need hands-on and budgets. Like, when I found out you was in construction, I'm like, wait a minute. So that means that you can, like, kind of look at the budgets and see what's going on, because the roofs at these particular schools aren't done yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can actually, you have expertise in areas that others don't. So your qualifications in regards to how I see the school system, because I've been in it, I've taught at alternative schools, right? I go in, I speak, and I see conditions, and I see the stress, and I see what's really going on. So I just wanted to say that. And, you know, I have to congratulate you for having the guts to freaking run, because, listen, I ain't going to be able to do it, because these people crazy. You know what I'm saying? Politics is crazy, but someone has to do it, and I'm just, you know, thankful that you're one of them. That's all I'm saying.
Look, this is probably, I've been through a lot of stuff in my life. I'm 51 years old now, and this is probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. You know, I'm a product of a biracial family. My mom's white, my dad's Puerto Rican. Obviously, I take the Puerto Rican side, you know, of the race, and you know, I can relate to all the kids that are in my district. You know, we're 19 of the 20 schools, you know, that are of the elementary schools that they're Title I. You know, and that's basically 40% at least of kids that apply for free or reduced lunch in those school systems to qualify. Now, I can relate to all those kids, because I had free and I had reduced lunch. I had those paper food stamps, not one of those debit cards they have today. I had those paper food stamps. It's embarrassing as hell, but I did it, you know. So I can relate to all these kids. And the biggest thing, you know, that I want to try to provide is, you know, with the charge that I got is because I was uneducated on that part. I don't want to see any other kid or young adult. You know, we have the Promise program out there, and, you know, BSO has, you know, they have the diversion program. And, you know, we try to get these kids, you know, before they get into the system, before they get a record, so it doesn't screw up their life. Because, you know, fortunately, I'm strong enough in my mindset to pass and go above and beyond, you know, the hurdles that I've been dealt with in life. I don't know how many people could have, you know, probably gotten around having a charge their whole life and be successful, you know, in a period of life that I'm at now. I just don't want to see it happen to somebody else that's less fortunate. They deserve a chance. We have to teach our kids that, you know, second chances are okay. You know, we have to show them that we believe in them. We have to teach them that we care. You know, you and I have had discussions, you know, about teaching these kids, you know, just to work with their hands. You know, we had discussions about, you know, just teaching them how to paint, how to install some basic wood flooring or laminate flooring or baseboards, or doing some drywall, just, you know, trades that we have to bring back to the schools. And they're starting to bring stuff back in the magnet programs. And, you know, there's not awareness out there. You know, there's a lot of great programs out there, you know, that we just don't know about. So one of my things is I'm running for is to bring that communication, you know, back to the community. District 1 needs to know what the hell's going on with their schools. Like we offer, we offer this at Apollo Middle. We offer this, at Olson, or just
I'm gonna
whatever
hold
it
you
may
to
be.
that, Rod. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
give me all that information so I can share it on the platform.
Well,
I'm gonna hold you to
Go to
that.
my Broward parents and teachers group on Facebook. I always, a lot of the information I try to post on there is just stuff that's, it might not be coming directly from me. It might just be something I'm sharing, but it's information that I'm subscribed to on some other channels that parents just might not know. There's just a lot of things, and even though Broward puts out a lot of information, their website it's hard to navigate for a lot of people. They might not know, what to look for and how to look for it. So
Yeah,
for me, I have
it
to get it out
it
there.
shouldn't be that challenging though, right? Like it
No,
should
it's
be
simple. No, it
right.
should be
So
simple.
if that's
Right.
one of the things that you're going to be doing, we appreciate that, because like we need to know exactly what's going on. I personally know they don't put out the information like that. They'll put something out, be like, yeah, we put it out, because it's like they do the minimum, but
Right.
it doesn't get to certain communities. It doesn't get it. A lot of the information doesn't get to the Black and brown communities, and sometimes that's why we miss out on opportunities. So I'm going to hold you to that, to make sure you bring that level of communication and awareness and what's really going on, so like that parents know what options they have. We need options.
I want to try to at least hold meetings for the community in District 1. So, we can get the people out to ask questions. And then if there's any information I feel that's pertinent that they need to know at that time that I can speak upon, then I'll give it to them. During COVID, our, school board member was non-existent. We didn't know what the hell was going on in the district with the kids or anything. If I wasn't so involved, I wouldn't have known the things that I knew. So I don't want to be that school board member. I want to be the school board member that gets the information out to all the families. We got to make sure we get the right, contacts information for everyone, so we can contact the people correctly and just tell them, hey, this is going on. And if something's not happening, we need to know too. It goes both ways.
Right.
They need to come talk to me, and I can share with them. It's all, if we have an open communication. Imagine. What do you think this District 1 would look like? And then if I can make this district successful in communication, how do you think that's going to spread throughout the other districts? And being the 6th largest district in the nation, how do you think that's going to spread and make us, we have to change the narrative, and we have to change the perception of this district, in the country. It's almost like we're a joke right now.
Yeah.
The culture is horrible.
Now that's embarrassing. Now that's embarrassing, right? With all
it's almost
those
like talking about my charge.
Right. It's like all those millions of dollars, being the 6th in the nation. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Let's say that.
It's a $4 billion a year budget.
Don't get
Broward County School Board is the largest employer in Broward County with 30,000 employees. Okay, think about that. $4 billion a year budget. That's pretty impressive. And yet, as dysfunctional as it is right now, it shouldn't be that way. So we got to get the people out. We got to get them to vote in August. I'm Hispanic. I'm biracial. Whatever you want to say. But for me, we had discussions on this. It's a matter of who's the best person for this position, for the job. It doesn't matter if I'm white, brown, black, purple. If I'm the best person for the job, vote for me. Don't vote for me because I'm Hispanic. Don't vote for me, for whatever reason other than thinking that I'm the best person that's going to help this district get out of what it's been for the past 12, 15 years.
So there's a comment by SCKV. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. Thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate you being in the space. Please address the fact that you are asking for support when your background would not allow you to teach.
So that's another misinformation thing out there. Okay, so you have former people that were running against me and other people that just don't want to see me win. So there's a policy in the Broward schools that, it excludes me from being an actual volunteer in the school system. Okay, so if I went and I applied to volunteer, that would exclude me, from being able to volunteer in the school system or even teach. That's correct. However, because I'm able to vote, okay, and I have my rights restored, I am voted in by the constituents. In District 1, the process is not the same, okay? We had Dr. Rosin Osgood in District 5, okay, that had charges, felony charges, and jail time. She was on the school board for 12 years. She was endorsed by the Sun Sentinel as well, which I just recently got endorsed by the Sun Sentinel, okay? So all those rumors out there that's saying, oh, he can't be around the kids, and no, that's false. I can be around the kids. I don't have any problem being around the kids. If the Boy Scouts don't have a problem with being around kids, why should you? I'm a good role model in the community. I'm not a molester. I don't do anything malicious. I'm a good person, regardless of, what people may think or say because they're the opposition. They trying to bring up my past. I was forthright with this over a year ago to people. I've never hidden it. So those people out there.
Yes, I can definitely vouch for that. It was definitely, see, when you're on the ground and you're doing the work, right? Everybody knows what's going on as it relates to like, oh, you've been to jail, oh, you did this, whatever. Like, it's something that like a lot of us knew. We knew it wasn't a big thing. Now, when it came out, I believe that if people would ask or in midst of conversation, you would freely give the information. So I think it became an issue when the Sun Sentinel dropped the information because people were like, oh my God, I can't believe that such a great man like that has a felony conviction. Like, you see like the contradiction. I just be like blowed with the, I don't know if it's hypocrisy for me or like, what does one thing have to do with the other? If the community says, we want to vote Rod Valdez, we want to vote whoever in, like, I don't understand what one thing has to do with the other. The people are the ones who make the decisions. We need representation in our school board, right? It's not just one class of people or one race of people under this umbrella. So like, it just be the hypocrisy for me, like, and I'm going to continue to say that because we are human. We all make mistakes. Some of us are pushed into corners, right? People act like they've never drank, that they've never, done shit wrong. Like, I don't understand this perfection. See, the perfection is what allows for destruction. Hence why the school system is a mess. And that's just me speaking. That is not any reflection on Rod Velez or any of my guests that come on here. Like, I'm on the ground. I am a community leader. I know what the F is going on, so I could speak on it, right? We have to start looking at people that have been through shit as valuable resources for the children that are being raised in today's society. Because whether you want to look in the mirror or not, right, there's a big issue with our children and the youth. Look at the results of what's happening. Like, let's stop with the nonsense. Let's move forward with real conversations. Let's stop using people's felony convictions against them, because believe it or not, in my opinion and what I have seen, mentoring the incarcerated youth, being out here in the communities, the children gravitate to relatability. Okay? Some of the children don't even like their own parents because of the bourgeoisie, the goody two shoe type of stuff, when in reality they know the character of their parents. So we need to stop with the hypocrisy, with the gossiping. Like, our children are really looking up to us. They're looking for leaders and leadership, and that's what we need. We need people that are leaders, that have put in work, that are dedicated, that are committed. People qualify to run for office. And Rod Valdez, Dr. Rosalind Osgood, they got on the ballot. They did what needed to be done to get on the ballot. And that's just what it is. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be advocating on this stuff when it comes to felony convictions, because we have to stop the nonsense. That's just a way to, you feel me, like, make people not want to run for office or get involved in politics or in jury duty, because we know how the system has been set up. So, yeah, like, I just wanted to say that because I'm exhausted. Because you have all these people with no felony convictions that are doing absolutely nothing, and some are just being a detriment to society. They just haven't got caught. So,
yeah, we have felons. We have felons running things right now for sure that just haven't been caught. They're doing the charge, but they just haven't been caught. You know, they're doing the crime, the felony crime. You know, it's okay. Like, I knew this was going to happen for me like last year, and I knew this day was going to come, and I'm ready for it. I'm okay with it, and it's playing out the way I expected it to. You know, I'm getting all the endorsements that I need to get. You know, I'm a parent, and I've got the Broward Teachers Union. One of my opponents is a teacher. She didn't get the Broward Teachers Union endorsement. What does that tell you about her as a person? Why wouldn't they give their own teacher an endorsement over a parent? Because I'm the person since COVID that hasn't gone anywhere. I've been advocating for my kids, for all the kids around. So, you know, it's just funny how, you know, the politics play into this. You know, we gotta make sure we keep the politics out of our school system. It's an ugly thing. And people forget our kids are first. You know, we got to have a kids first agenda. It's all about the kids. You know, it's not about Republican, Democrat. It's about these kids, because these kids are going to be running this country in a matter of years. And if they see and they act like they're, you know, we are now as adults, I mean, Christ, you know, we're not going to be around too much longer. We're a young country, and, you know, we'll be lucky to survive another 50 years at that.
So SCKV, am I pronouncing that correctly? I definitely want to.
Oh, I see the comment now. Yeah.
I live and work in District 1 and have to deal with code red drills every month. So how are you to respond to a student brought before the board on a weapons charge?
So how are you to respond to a student brought before the board on a weapons charge? I'm not sure I follow that. Are they asking me because I have a charge, or if the kid had a weapon and he was charged with it?
That's what it appears. Let me see. It says, so how are you to respond to a student brought before the board? So if a student is brought before the school board with a weapons charge, how are you to respond?
I mean, it's not going to get to that point, but they have other processes that happens before it would even go that far. What does that say? You also have people.
You also have people who are 50 who never used a damn gun to beat someone.
Well, first of all, do your research. I never beat anyone with a gun. So, yeah.
Okay, these are
misinformation again.
Okay, so clearly you did not beat anybody with a gun.
No, it's just, you know, it's someone that clearly didn't do their research. They didn't read the article from the Sun Sentinel when it first came out. It's all good. That could be one of my, what does that say?
I watched the video, and BTU never spoke to all of the candidates. This is, I mean, I don't, this person lives in District 1. Maybe there should be a conversation because this is really hyper local. So,
I don't have any control of who they look or vet. You know, maybe I'm just, you know, hypothetically speaking, maybe they just felt the other candidates weren't even worth looking at after they spoke with me. Maybe I was just their decision. You know, maybe it's not so ridiculous. You know, maybe what's ridiculous is if you get the daughter of a lady that's been there for the past 12 or so years that hasn't done anything, she'll just continue the same thing for the next 12 or so years, you know, and that's if she doesn't get taken out by the grand jury, you know, before she's able to retire. I don't know. You know, that's just not who I am. You know, yeah, I have a charge. Yeah, it happened, you know, but I know I'm a better person. So it's all good.
So I may I ask a question to SCKV? So if I may, so do you believe that Rod Valdez, that charge should be held over him for the rest of his life? Like it's apparent that he has a calling to be a role model for children. And sometimes when you have a calling, your experiences are the best teachers, right? So when we're speaking on a whole nother level, which many don't understand, but some of us here on earth have what's called a calling, right? To be a leader and a role model on a spiritual level and use our experiences to teach others. The mere fact that Mr. Velez being engaged in such a high tension situation with 3 people, right? Let hear me out for a second. Let's talk about like the mere fact that 3 people, he had to defend himself against 3 people, and he had the discipline, right? And the restraint not to pull the trigger is commendable. Let's talk about discipline and restraint, right? This is my opinion, he has more discipline and restraint than some of these police officers. They're just going crazy, killing people. So let's try to focus on the fact that he showed discipline, restraint in such a high stress situation, right? We leave our homes every day not knowing exactly what's going to happen. It was 27 years ago. He was 24 years old. So I just kind of want to embed that in people's brain. Like, think outside the box. Start looking at start looking at things in a different perspective. Or maybe put yourself in that situation and see how you would have reacted, right? And again, took a plea, did his time, terms, conditions of probation, terms, conditions of probation with no violations, right? Which is very important. I'm a former probation officer, so I know what that means. And we'll be speaking on topics like this at a later date. So he complied with all his terms and conditions of probation, paid all his monies, terminated successfully, and never got in trouble again. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like that's just what it is. So let's start focusing on the positive things. Let's see how maybe changing the school board and some of the individuals in it can benefit the community. How about let's let the community make a decision? How about that? Let's let the community make a decision on who they want in office. How about that? Let's do that, right? 2022, April 23rd, 2022.
August.
What did I just say? April?
April.
How did I say April? Oh my God. August. My bad.
August 23rd.
August 23rd, 2022. And during early voting, which is several days before that,
13th through the 20th. The early voting is August 13th through the 21st from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay. That's early voting.
Early voting. So early voting starts August 13th, right? Let's allow the community to make a decision on who they want for school board. How about that? Rod, I appreciate you. You know, a couple challenging, you know, questions there. People, you know, not wanting to forgive, but it's all good. Thank you so much for you know, coming up, sharing your story, being transparent about it, and also all the, you know, the good stuff that you've done, the community service that you've done, the children that you've impacted, those that, you know, now know how to, you know, make their own fire and know how to, you know what I'm saying, hammer some stuff and drill some stuff. You know, you've impacted the youth. So that's what matters. That's what's important. Impacting our youth. Is there anything else you want to say before we end the live?
No, just, you know, again, I want to reiterate, get out there on August 23rd and vote. I want to win this thing in August. I don't want to go out there and have to canvass anymore during, you know, the general election in November. This way I can focus my time on what I'm going to do when I get sworn in, and then I can hit the ground running. I don't want to waste any time. So if I can get everybody out there to vote in August, then we can do this thing and we can get it started sooner than later. And we can show them, you know, that, you know, someone actually cares about their kids.
Beautiful. So, Rod, we are rooting for you. We rocking with Rod. Wishing you the best and good luck. And, you know what I'm saying? Do your thing.
Thank you. And good luck to you on this show. I'm looking forward to when you're a movie star.
I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and say my final words. And, you know, I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that was Rod Valdez running for school board here in District 1 in South Broward County, Florida. And I just want to say a few things in closing, right? It's important how you show up to the space, you as an individual, right? You're either an asset or a liability. You're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. I want you to sit down and really think about who you are. Are you an asset or a liability? Because we all have a part to play, right, in our communities. Like we all have to contribute and become caretakers of the earth and forgive others and allow for second chances so we can progress and move forward, because we have to start thinking about the next generation, not necessarily ourselves and what we think and what we're consumed with and the me. So really think about how you show up in the space. And before we go, I have some community homework real quick. Who are the members of the school board? Who are the members of your school board? Start doing your research, start looking into things, you know, doing the work. You can start one step at a time. Learn who your school board members are, learn who your commissioners are, right? So every show will have some community homework, simple things that you can do to get involved and get engaged and just start becoming aware of what's actually going on. And again, I want you to think about it. Are you an asset when you walk in a room, or are you a liability? Are you part of the solution, or are you part of the problem? Think about how you show up in your community. And in the words of my mother, when you do it with love, it will flourish. Peace, blessings, and in gratitude.